What is going on, everybody? This is Vengeance Gaming coming to you on YouTube with Vanguard Nightly News, episode 6. This time we got Mr. James Autumn above me, our host Shark Hunter, DFS. I cannot get my finger right, so whatever. And then Panda Stampede TV, I still can't get my finger right. I've given up. We're going to start off strong like we always do with some NFL. I think we got Thursday night's game, the Colts versus the Titans. Shark?
So, like Chase said, Colts versus Titans was a Thursday night game. The offense really shined for the Colts in this game. Phillip Rivers was 29 for 39, 308, and a touchdown. Naheem Hines, 115 total yards and 2 touchdowns, 1 receiving, 1 rushing. Mm-hmm. Michael Pittman Jr., rookie from USC, had 7 catches for 101 yards. On Tennessee's side, I mean, they just basically struggled the whole game, offense and defense. Tannehill was 15 for 27, 147 yards, and a touchdown. Derrick Henry, 19 carries, did get over 100 yards, but still nothing really amazing. And then A.J. Brown was 1 for 21.
This game really surprised me because I remember I was streaming when it was happening, and NCK, he hopped in. He was, like, watching the Colts beat on the Titans, and it's like, what? Like, looking at the Titans, I mean, not the Titans, looking at the Colts up to now, it's like they weren't doing anything spectacular. So for them to come out and win 34-17 was a big shocker to me.
Well, being a native Tennessean, not surprising, bro. Not surprising. That was a landslide victory for them, and we looked real sad, and I turned off the TV on that one.
I would have too. Don't worry.
So, getting to the Sunday games, we had very first game, 1 o'clock games, Texans versus the Browns. Just a complete snooze fest. It was really windy in the game in Cleveland. Mm-hmm. Browns basically just ran the ball anytime they really wanted to. Nick Chubb came back this game after his injury, had 126 yards and a touchdown, and then Kareem Hunt 129 total yards. And then Texans just completely struggle in this game. Deshaun Watson 199 total yards and 1 touchdown, and the whole team combined had 253 yards. So terrible game.
That's roughly around what the Browns had rushing.
Yeah. Basically, I'm sitting here doing the math, and it's like Chubb and Hunt together. They had a lot of yards there.
Oh yeah.
I think they actually had more yards together than the total. So I don't know. So, Texans have got some things that they got to work on.
Oh yeah. So moving on, we had the Washington football team versus the Lions. Lions
what
win.
The fuck?
Yeah.
Do what?
The what fuck?
What the fuck? I'm reversing the F and the T. What the fuck?
I was like, what? What did I say wrong? Lions won 30-27. Alex Smith, of course, now is taking over for the Washington football team. Threw for 38 for 55 for 390 yards. Antonio Gibson and McKissick had 3 total touchdowns. Scary Terry having another good game with 7 catches, 95 yards. On the Lions side, basically they do as they want, honestly. Stafford 24 for 33, 276 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Now a little bit more on Stafford. I think that he got a X-ray or something on his hand, and it came back that he is going to play this week.
Yes. So,
he plans on playing this week.
He got hurt last week, came back, and he kind of like re-injured his hand in this game.
Mm-hmm.
But they said don't expect him not to miss. So I expect him to play.
For all these fantasy people.
Yeah. In the game as well, DeAndre Swift had 149 yards total and a touchdown, and then Marvin Jones had 8 catches, 96 yards, and a touchdown. DeAndre Hopkins.
I thought about it too. Don't worry.
Yeah. Hopkins kicked a game-tying field goal with 16 seconds left, and then Matt Prater hit the game-winning field goal as time expired to win the game for the Lions. So
that was a close game, but I don't think it. I think that with Alex Smith coming back, he really is like giving the Washington football team maybe a different outlook. I don't know. He's
He played really well. It just he didn't get the touchdowns.
Yeah.
Yep. That's basically what happened.
But I think
also,
that he's.
When you said Hopkins, I kind of got sad but excited at the same time because I'm like, you both know why.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't even upset, but like it was just all right.
That game's coming up actually, so.
We still got a little bit.
Next, we got Jags versus the Packers. Packers win it 20-24.
Wow, couldn't get fucking 28 touchdowns there, Rodgers. Like, come on, man.
I know, come on.
The damn Jags, bro.
Come
on,
Robinson.
Tell your QB to pick it up, man. He sucks.
Robinson had another solid game. 23 carries for 109 yards. Got him on my fantasy. Very good guy. Keelan Cole, 91-yard punt return with 12-yard receiving touchdown. Oh, so there was 2 returns this week.
I love the fact that I love the fact that he said Aaron.
Yeah, I just saw that in the notes. Aaron with 325 yards, 3 types of touchdown, 3 total touchdowns. MVS, I can never actually say his name. Valdez-Scantling.
Yep.
4 for 149 yards and a touchdown, with one of those being a 78-yard touchdown. That was a big boy play right there. And then Devontae Adams doing what he always does, 8 for 66 and a touchdown.
There you go.
Not much on Jags, besides Robinson having a solid game again.
Keelan Cole.
Keelan Cole? Oh, yeah, and Keelan Cole. He had the punt return and touchdown.
Good job there, Chase.
Yay! Because I don't want to talk about this next one.
Oh, yeah. So the next game, we had Eagles versus the Giants. Eagles losing to the Giants 17-27. Carson Wentz having a quiet game, 21 for 37, 208 yards. Miles Sanders and Alshon Jeffrey both returned in this game. The only one that really did anything was Miles Sanders, who had 15 carries, 85 yards, 2 catches, and 10 yards. Jeffrey had, I believe, 1 or 2 targets, but did not get a catch. Boston Scott and Clement both punched in a touchdown on the ground. And then Eagles give up 3 rushing touchdowns, 2 of them to Wayne Gellman, who's taken over with
Saquon being
out, and Devontae Freeman going to, I believe, IR. I believe he did. So, but then, of course, 3rd touchdown was by Daniel Jones.
He finally got it.
Yeah. So at the end, now the question is, who's going to win the East? Because from first to fourth, they're only a game away from each other, I believe.
Giants could definitely take this. Even with the beat up team, they could definitely take it.
I'm gonna take the underdog.
Agree,
I'm taking the underdog. I'm taking Washington football team.
The NFC East is so fucked at this point in time.
Cousins could pull it off as long as he plays well.
Yeah.
Or not Cousins, Smith.
Smith, yeah.
Sorry.
When you said Cousins, I was like, wait.
Yeah, I was thinking of
Minnesota.
17 years ago.
Yeah.
I kind of figured Jeffrey wasn't going to do much in this game. First game back after injury. Dude is injury prone, essentially. So.
The whole team's been injured this year, of course.
NFC East is just basically a reserve teams. That's it. A lot of the teams at second.
You guys should just trade all your good players.
No.
Yeah, just
no.
Shark is like give some to us, and I'm like give some to the Bills. So we'll take all the really good players, and you guys could just fight amongst the rest.
You could have Miles Sanders.
No, he's our only good running back.
And then we will work out the rest of it.
Yeah.
So
we'll go do some talks in the NFL.
Go ahead. Move on. I don't want to talk about this team anymore.
All right. So then we had the Bucks versus the Panthers, which Bucks come back after a bad game last week and went 46-23. McCaffrey misses this game. He's going to miss it next week as well. But in my opinion, don't be surprised if he sits out until after the bye week, just because, in my opinion, on a losing team, you have your best player who is hurt. Are you really going to play your best player
and risk him getting injured again?
Yes, unless he is.
They essentially did that here.
Yes. But this was a different injury, of course.
Yeah,
but...
I'm saying like they essentially did it, like worked him so hard when he's just getting back into the groove.
Mm-hmm.
You got to ease him in.
Yeah, he did come out, and they fucking ran him like no other.
Yeah, your team's been doing well without him, so just like switch him out. Let the other guy play. Just keep doing what you've been doing. That's how you guys were doing well.
Mm-hmm.
Which of course leads to of course Mike Davis getting the start this week again, who did get hurt this week, as well as Teddy Bridgewater.
That's a sting.
From what I read, the Teddy Bridgewater should be back. There's no issues with him.
What was the injury?
A knee injury. Basically, he got tackled from the outside of the knee, which
I saw that.
Most
came
people
from like the
say
backside.
Yeah, which most people, of course, say that's an MCL injury.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think he overextended it.
They got
just
tested.
Hyperextension.
They tested him out and everything, and no damage or anything like that. So may sit this week, but from everything I've read and everything, he should be fine to play. And then Mike Davis had a thumb injury, which they came back and said that the thumb is not fractured, last I read. So could be ligaments, it could be the wrists, but I know whenever he fell down on his hand, that he basically was just like grabbing his hand. So
that'll be fine for next week.
It'll be one to watch for sure.
Yeah.
For the Bucks, basically steamrolled, of course. So Brady, 28 for 39, 341 yards, 4 total touchdowns. Yeah, you gotta have the of course in there.
Yeah, defense played well, so it's gotta be of course.
Then you had Ronald Jones had 23 carries, 192 yards, and a touchdown, which 98-yard touchdown was the, of course, big one. And then Chris Godwin. Oh yeah. Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, and Antonio Brown, all with 6 or more catches and all 65 yards or more.
You know, you talked about Brown last week too, and I totally forget that he's actually on the Bucks.
Yep.
Because it's like you forget that he's on a team now.
It's actually what my brother told me, like while the game was going on. He goes, "Hey, you see that Antonio Brown's on the Bucks?" I was like, "Yeah, I knew that."
Yeah. And it's like, well, I mean, it's been a minute since he's been on the team, so to hear his name, it's like, oh yeah, he's on the team.
It was great because after he caught his first ball, he's like, "I'm that fucking guy. I'm that guy!" Like slapping his chest. I'm like,
"Yeah,
where were you last week?"
Yeah, it's I don't know. Like I think he's gonna be good. I know that he had an incident with with the police and everything again before the team signed him, and supposedly the NFL did not know about it, and they reinstated him and everything. So
we'll see where that goes.
Yes, basically. So Bucks supposedly didn't know anything about it. The NFL didn't know anything about it. So I guess we will find out how that works out in the future. I guess is about as much as I can tell you all. I fantasy wise, if you have all three,
you
have a chance. If you had all three on your team, then you're fucking solid, of course. But I think the safe one of the three is still gonna be Godwin. I think you're gonna have to go Mike Evans second, and until you see more of
Antonio Brown, don't go pick him up right away.
Yeah, don't go crazy. So I think it's kind of how you have to go with that one. So moving on, we had the Broncos versus the Raiders. Broncos losing 12-37. This is kind of remind me of the Raiders from the early 2000s with Warren Sapp and Charles Woodson, all of them on that team. That was a very good year. Some good years for them. So Drew Lock had 4 interceptions, and then Deshaun Hamilton last year's rookie had a fumble. Besides that, Josh Jacobs and Booker had amazing games on the ground.
Jacobs finally had himself a day, though.
Yep. Jacobs, 21 carries, 112 yards, 2 touchdowns, and then Booker, 16 carries, 81 yards, and then 2 touchdowns as well. Besides that, I believe that Derek Carr had under 200 yards, had 100 or something, and Drew Lock, of course, had a bad game with his 4 interceptions. There wasn't much at all to talk about with the Broncos side at all. So,
where do you think the Raiders stand in playoff picture? Do you think that their team's looking good?
They're a sneaky team. If they play like they have, they played really good against, I believe it was the Saints. The Broncos are down this year, so I don't take this, but they can upset someone, but it's not someone this is an upset team that can beat anyone. So I think it was the Chargers that they played really good against, actually.
Mm-hmm.
But I would definitely watch for them. They're going to be an interesting team.
They played well against Kansas City.
Yeah, they did.
I mean, you'd think the Broncos were on top, but seriously, the Raiders were really surprising in that. Usually, it takes a lot to take the Broncos down as bad as that. So I don't know where they got their stuff, but they brought it together. They really did. It was kind of sad sometimes they'd throw the ball and just fake out the Broncos defense like nothing. It was just kind of sad every time they would do that and they'd get a touchdown.
See, James watches some football.
A little bit.
All that matters.
That's all that matters.
So then we had on the next game, Chargers versus the Dolphins. Dolphins winning 29-21. This was basically the battle of Tua versus Justin Herbert. So Herbert had a decent game, 20 for 32 with 187 yards and 3 total touchdowns. I believe he also had an interception. But again, he's a rookie. You kind of expect that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
if you look at his stats, though, he's got MVP stats.
He really does.
And he's losing a shit ton because that defense can't hold up.
No. And what blows my mind is this is the same defense that we saw 2 years ago with their safety. I'm going blank. It's not
Weddle?
bad.
Yeah.
No.
Weddle was gone.
Is he on the Ravens then?
Yeah.
Yes, he was at the Ravens.
He's retired now.
Yes.
Fuck. I know who it is too. I just literally can't think about it.
He was a rookie 2 or 3 years ago, but he got hurt last year. They didn't play at all last year. I'm going to go blank, of course, but I'm just going to skip it anyways. But with that defense, they were really solid and everything. And ever since he got hurt, their defense has been completely downhill. Yeah. So it's very interesting. But Tua had a nice game as well. 15 for 25, 160 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then Salvin Ahmed, which is, I believe, rookie this year.
Derwin James. That's what it was. Yep.
Because
I knew it started with, I knew his last name was James or something with a J. I'm I can't fucking think of it.
And then you have Salvin Ahmed from the University of Washington with all the running backs hurt in Miami, having 18 yards and a touchdown in this game. So, is basically the battle of the two
rookies.
Two other quarterbacks not named Joe Burrow, basically.
Yeah.
Macaulay Culkin.
But
yeah,
Tua is really showing why he's a starter. He's been having good games.
He's played really well since he got in.
Mm-hmm.
Really well.
Tua's kind of been more game manager. He hasn't put up the numbers like Justin Herbert has.
Yeah.
But what would you rather have though? Someone that's putting up a bunch of numbers or a game manager?
Depending on what you need.
Exactly.
I mean, it depends on what you need. If you need to win the games, then I want the game manager. But if you're like the Kansas City Chiefs that have no defense and you need to put up the yards and points and everything, give me Justin Herbert. But if you gave me the chance to take either one of them right now, I would take Justin Herbert. I like him more, less injuries,
less injury prone.
Yeah, honestly.
I can agree on that. I mean, Tua with the hip injury, praying nothing happens to him. He's a good player. Knocking on wood.
If he didn't get hurt as much as he did, then I would have taken him.
Mm-hmm.
In college, if he didn't get hurt as much as he did in college, but he got hurt a lot. So that's what hurts, in my opinion.
Ben, do you want to do this next game?
I'll let you do the next game if you want to.
I don't give a shit, dude. Like, it was a good game.
Oh yeah,
very good. Really game. I actually really did like this game.
Like literally, I was like at the end, I wasn't even upset. I was more in shock than anything.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
yeah. But yeah, the Bills versus Cards. Cards won 32-30. D-Hop was fucking.
He's like, an animal.
I like I said, more shocked than anything. Him jumping over Tre'Davious White, Micah Hyde on his back. You have Jordan Poyer come over. Like I think Jordan Poyer may have helped him a little bit from hitting him, pulling him away from Tre'Davious, but it's still great catch. That won them in the game. With 1 second left on the clock. So I'm like, dude balled out. Like he had 7 catches, 127 yards, and that was his only touchdown in the game, but that was the touchdown that mattered.
Yep.
So like
I haven't seen catching and jumping like that since Vince Young at the Rose Bowl when he was in his college days. Oh my god, dude. It was kind of crazy seeing it happen again.
Don't see those Hail Marys work out very often.
No. Never.
Murray had a good game, 22 of 32, 301 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, but that wasn't entirely his fault. Like he did throw it behind Larry, but Larry should have caught the ball.
Speaking of MVP candidates, though, Murray is putting up some good numbers.
Yeah, he's slowly sliding in there.
Mm-hmm.
Drake had a really good game on his return, 16 carries for 100 yards. Played really solid. Pushed it when they needed it. Excuse me. The fucking option plays with him and Murray was just killing Buffalo up against the goal line there.
They have something really nice there with Kyler Murray.
It's Buffalo kind of just like pushed the running back more than anything. If they would have played quarterback more, I think they would have held them out at least on a few of those scores. Allen led the team in rushing again. He went 32 of 49, 284 yards, 2 TDs, and 2 interceptions. The picks were not. I mean, one pick was literally just Peterson outplaying the quarterback and the receiver at that point. Like he slid into that route. It looked like the Metcalf play against Tre'Davious White last week. It was literally almost the identical thing. Like he just slid over Peterson, and in that case it was Tre'Davious, slides up, just grabs the ball in mid route. It was a perfect play from him. And he's been in the league such a long time. Like he is a baller.
I was gonna say Peterson is still balling out in his older age.
Yep. He had Allen also had 7 for 38 on rushing. I feel like they were trying to do the same thing they did with Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like everyone's like that team's pass happy.
Yep.
And they've been doing shootouts the entire time, and I felt like Buffalo was like, we can do this against you. We did it against Seattle. We can do it against you. And it wasn't a bad choice.
And I think at the end of the day, like you still can't say that Arizona outplayed them completely. Like if you do that if the same scenario happened again.
Yep.
Like I guarantee you that if you did 100 times less than 20, DeAndre Hopkins probably wins that ball.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yep. It was literally a blessing that he caught it.
Yep. Now, don't get me wrong, DeAndre Hopkins is top 3 easily best
wide receivers.
Best receivers in the league for sure. But yeah.
But like I mean, that was just a crazy catch overall. Like I'd take nothing away from him on that. I could never say anything bad about that catch.
Mm-mm.
As soon as he caught that, I was like, he caught that shit. Like, I was like, good on you, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I'm like, you're going against my team. Good on you. Like,
I saw it on Twitter after, and like that's all people were talking about.
Yeah. I mean, it was a hell of a play, dude. Like 1 second left on the clock at the end. Like nothing better for him in that situation. The former Cowboy, Mr. Cole Beasley, coming out giving himself a hell of a game. I don't know if you guys saw that one-hander that he pulled off.
I did
That
not.
shit was clean. I recommend looking it up. Like, you should do it right now, actually, considering we're talking about him.
Yeah, I really should.
He had 11 catches for 109 yards and a touchdown. The touchdown, it was great route running by him. He's been great in that the entire season. Actually, going back to his entire time in the NFL, he's been great at route running. But that one-handed catch actually kept Buffalo in the game. That gave him a boost. And then they drove down, and Stephon Diggs got that touchdown.
Oh!
Diving catch in the on the sideline, over towards the sideline.
Yeah, you see that face that Chase is making there? That was clean. With
that
how
was
short
clean.
with how short he is compared to a majority of receivers, him getting up that high and maintaining possession of the ball, coming
He
down,
caught
getting
that shit like
getting 2 feet in, that was an insane play. Like, overall, the catches were really good in this game.
Oh yeah.
And then Diggs had a really good game too. 10 for 93 and 1 touchdown. Like we just talked about, it was a great play. Josh Allen made a good throw on that one. Couldn't have been any better placement, especially with Peterson on the back. That's really about it. I mean, both defenses kind of just were like, we'll play good for like 5 minutes here, and then we're just going to play shit for the rest of the quarter.
Really.
Next up, we got the
Buffalo started off really good there.
Oh yeah.
I mean, all in all, it was a good game. Probably one of the better games this week.
Yeah.
As in thriller.
Yeah, it's better to watch, definitely.
We got the Seahawks versus the Rams. Rams take it 16-23, and Seahawks they struggled this week. Don't know what happened. They've been looking like a solid team this week. Maybe it was the Rams defense. I don't know. Shark, you want to kind of take over a little bit more on this one?
Basically, the Rams defense were just their coverage and literally everything they were doing was just nothing that Seahawks have seen, really, honestly.
Conditional, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes, I mean, they play them twice a year. They understand what they're going to do.
Yep. So
it's better, especially since their corners are actually really solid on the Rams.
Yeah. But like Chase said, Seahawks struggle. Russell Wilson, 22 for 37, 308 total yards, 2 interceptions and a fumble. And then DK Metcalf had only 2 catches for 28 yards. Jared Goff he did pretty good. 27 for 37 and 302 yards, but no touchdowns. Malcolm Brown and Henderson combined for 3 touchdowns. And then leading receiver for the Rams was actually Josh Reynolds, their third. Well, he was bouncing between 3 and 4, third, 4 string for the Rams receiver, but had 8 catches, 94 yards in this game. Besides that, I mean, Seahawks played bad. Not really much else to talk about in this game.
Yep.
So then we had the 49ers versus the Saints. Saints winning 27-13. Again, this was kind of a slower paced game, but it's another week of the 49ers being injured. Nick Mullins, 24 for 38, 247 yards and a touchdown. He also had 2 interceptions. McKinnon had 18 carries, 33 yards. Now, rookie Brandon Ayuk had another good game, 7 catches, 75 yards and a touchdown. And then Jordan Reed, of course, replacement for, I'm going blank. It's not Travis Kelce. George Kittle.
Yeah. I as soon as you said I'm drawing a blank, it's like I had him in my head, and then you said I'm drawing a blank, and it just went poof.
Jordan Reed had 5 catches for 62 yards, kind of looking like his old self whenever he was in Washington. Kamara had have yourself a day, really. 98 yards total, 3 touchdowns total. I believe it was 1 rushing and 2 receiving, but had 7 total catches in this game as well. Michael Thomas having another bad week after coming back from injuries. 2 catches on 7 targets. This could come with the reason why could also come with the next point, but Drew Brees did get hurt, and he will be out for a while, I'm sure, with some fractured ribs and a punctured lung. So at this point, it's the Jameis Winston show.
Gotta eat some W's, boys.
Gotta eat those W's. So, moving on, we had the Bengals versus the Steelers. Steelers winning kind of as you would expect, 36-10. Burrow had a decent game, 21 for 40, 213 touchdown. The Burrow to Higgins matchup is gonna look really nice if they keep this up. But 7 catches, 115 yards, and a touchdown for T. Higgins. And then Steelers, like I said, did as you would expect. Big Ben, 27 for 46, 333 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Deontay Johnson, 6 for 116 and a touchdown. Juju, 9 for 77 and a touchdown. Claypool, 4 for 56 and 2 touchdowns. And once again, like almost every other week this year, the Steelers can't get anything going on rushing. So, all
Feels
air
bad
raid.
if you got James Conner on fantasy.
Oh, yeah. Not me.
No, you just got the other one that keeps on getting hurt.
Yeah. So, Ravens versus the Pats. This was the Sunday night game.
Surprising to me, actually.
Patriots win 23-17. It was very windy, cold, snowy game.
First snow
Lamar had-
game, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe
It's getting to that time
No,
of the year.
there was one like 2 weeks ago.
Buffalo.
No, it wasn't in Buffalo. I don't remember what team it was, but I remember popping over onto another channel when the Bills were on halftime, and that game was going on. It was a snow game.
Trying to think. I'm going blank.
Keep going.
I can't remember.
I'll
what
sit there
it
and
is,
I'll
but I
think
know.
about it. Keep going.
Lamar had a nice game, 24 for 34, 249 passing and 55 rushing with 2 touchdowns. Willie Snead caught both of the touchdowns. Mark Andrews had a good game after a couple bad weeks, 7 for 61. Damian Harris was healthy to play, comes out and has a huge game against a very good Ravens rush defense, and even pass defense, honestly, too. But they've had some COVID issues on the defensive back side. But Damian Harris had 22 carries, 121 yards. And then Burkhead had 4 catches, 35 yards, and 2 touchdowns, which one of the touchdowns came from Cam Newton. The other one came from Jacoby Myers, the receiver. So, little trick play there on the Sunday night game.
You think some of this had to do with Lamar not being used to like those cold, snowy games? Because I don't think he ever really had to play in that kind of weather last year.
I mean, I guess you could say that, but I mean, Baltimore is not far from New England, so like,
No, the
still
thing
cold
is,
weather.
Mm-hmm.
especially considering that you're more of a rush team.
Mm-hmm.
It's what you're designed for, offensive wise. Like it's you should pound that ball down their throats at that point.
Especially in this kind of weather, too.
Yeah, people are gonna slip. Like they're gonna miss tackles, and there's no excuse for them losing that game. Especially
Burkhead
against
had
the
a good
Patriots
game,
with
though.
their defense playing
Yes.
as bad as it has been, and the offense playing as bad as it has been.
For sure. So, moving on, we had the Monday night game, Vikings versus the Bears last night.
Oh,
Complete
God.
space mess, honestly. The
Talk about game of the year, bro.
game defense wins
Def-
championships.
Exactly. Especially if you
Cousins had
can't
a
read
good-
the stats.
Oh, yeah. Kirk Cousins had a good game. 25 for 36 for 292 yards and 2 touchdowns. Rookie Justin Jefferson, 8 catches, 135 yards. Kind of filling in that Stephon Diggs role. So hopefully he does pan out for them. And then Adam Thielen, 4 catches, 43 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
Mhm.
On the Bears side, no true running back with them all being hurt. So Cordell Patterson, who's also the return guy, stepped in, being their running back, who ran back a kickoff return. I think it was the beginning. I think it began the second half, I believe.
Yes.
Maybe you're wrong with that, but I
No,
know
I think you're right.
it was second half. Long story short, and then Nick Foles did get hurt basically towards the end of the game. Got tackled, thrown down, landed on his hip. So
Broke his shoulder.
I don't think it's his shoulder.
So, okay, I
He
don't know,
landed on
actually.
his hip and started grabbing his hip. That's why I'm saying it's a hip injury.
I don't
until-
know who went in for Foles,
I swear to God, it's his shoulder.
but
There was
who...
only 19 seconds left, but it was not Mitchell Trubisky.
whoever it was, dude, I was watching some of the plays after Foles got hurt, and he was very inaccurate. So,
Well, what did you expect from a third
string.
string quarterback?
I have a
I
question
mean,
here.
we can ask Dallas.
Wow.
I was
Do you
gonna say we
do you
can
guys-
ask Cowboys.
Do you guys think Thielen is being underutilized in Minnesota?
Yes.
Yes, but he's also been going up against some tough defenses lately. Good, very good number one
No,
cornerback.
I mean like in the past 3 years.
Yes, I would say so, but he also was hurt for quite a bit of time last year as well. But long story short, yes.
I feel like we talked about this with other receivers and quarterbacks and like running backs. Like it's with him being on a different team, I feel like he could thrive more.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Like I mean,
I just don't feel like
imagine like if he went to the Chargers, it would be a solid play on his end. You get Herbert who's playing solid, hitting his receivers. Like you got Allen there. Like it's
I think the
honestly,
issue lies in Kirk Cousins.
no, they only have one receiver and it's him.
Kirk Cousins.
Like legit, he's really the only one there.
He's their only true receiver that you can trust.
Yeah.
Kyle Rudolph, like, used to be good, and he kind of just completely
He has
fell
fell
off.
off, honestly.
Irv Smith kind of has been taken over in there, but he was hurt going into this game, so he did not play. I believe that Rudolph had like 4 or 5 catches this game.
Them losing Diggs was a big hit on them, but Buffalo gained a phenomenal receiver.
Yeah.
For sure. I think they kind of like they knew because I don't think Diggs had a new contract, did he?
Nope.
Or is he? Yes.
No,
I
he
think
was signed for 4 years.
Okay, I couldn't remember.
Yeah, he got signed for 4 years. I think it was probably about a quarter, maybe midway last season.
Okay.
And then he's like getting into arguments with the general manager, with fucking training staff.
Because I knew that whenever he came back, his numbers dropped back down, so I assumed that it had to be with that reasoning, of course. So,
I think he wanted a better contract,
Mhm.
because his contract seemed like complete dog shit
number 2,
Yeah.
and yeah.
compared to Cousins, and he's like, Cousins isn't even playing as good as I am. Like I could play quarterback better than him at this point. So like I understood it. Like he was their number one person on the team. Like
Especially when Thielen got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
but it's like you have to pay your playmakers, and if you're not gonna do it to the point where they're happy,
they're gonna ask to leave.
Yep.
because they're gonna be like, oh well, you just paid this guy this much money over what you could have paid me. You tell me that's why I didn't get my money?
That whole contract with Kirk Cousins is ugh.
Steak.
Yeah, for sure.
Well,
I think he could be a reliable quarterback. Or not, I shouldn't even say reliable. I think he could be a decent quarterback. I just don't think what you paid him.
he's not worth what he's paid for.
No, not at all. 100%.
It's like that's like you get a brand new headset and it breaks in a week. It's like cool, sweet, wasted that money. But
Well,
Sure.
that
Hey, sometimes you need an average guy.
I'm average and I'm proud.
well, moving
Uh,
forward, I think Panda's got some more anime that he'd like to talk about, so we're gonna get into some of
Well,
that.
the thing is, Chase, you have a new anime that you've been watching that you can talk about.
Ooh.
I do.
Well,
one.
go ahead and talk about that, bud.
Well,
Uh,
which one have you been watching?
We've been starting Death Note. I think we're on episode 4, 5. What episode did we end on?
We'll find out soon.
Yeah, we'll find out soon. We'll find out on the next 500 episodes of Dragon Ball Z. But, anyways, so far I am enjoying Death Note. It gives me a little bit of that Tokyo Ghoul aspect, but like not so much. I don't know, like it's weird.
That we've recommended about 35,000 times.
Hey, I'm watching it, aren't I? But no, it gives me Tokyo Ghoul vibes, which I absolutely love Tokyo Ghoul. So to have another anime that is like Tokyo Ghoul, I highly recommend it. Just
Now,
in
are
the
we
first,
talking the OG Death Note, or is
Yes.
there like some sort of okay?
not the Netflix
So-
movie. No.
Okay, thank
Yeah,
God.
that trash
Exactly.
is just it's literally where it like it's trash.
I really am enjoying it. Actually, after the podcast is done, we'll be watching some more of that. So
Yeah.
Nice.
Death Note is definitely on.
You've
Top-
seen the
top
movie,
tier.
right?
Yes.
The Netflix movie.
Yes.
And now you see why everyone says I mean, you're only 4 or 5 episodes in.
I can already tell you the Netflix movie is garbage.
And you're only
Well, that
4.
was for so many reasons. There was like even a huge socio-political reason why that movie was trashed by the critics everywhere
Everyone.
and fans of the series. Yeah, everyone. Why everyone hated it.
Yeah.
Why it wasn't a good idea fundamentally.
For sure.
I mean, I don't really have any more to. I don't know much more to say about it because we're
Who's your favorite character?
light. Definitely light. I don't know. Maybe L. Maybe L. I don't know.
He's-
Like
he's-
There's only 2 main characters right now. so-
yeah.
well, there's
Really?
another one too, but he didn't even.
There's
bother to
another
bring
one,
that
but
up.
I can't think of his name. I'm drawing a blank.
You
Well,
wanna take a
honestly,
guess?
we talked
No.
about this before too. It starts with an R.
Ryuku. No. Yeah. No. I'm fucked. I don't know what it
sounded
is.
like it sounded like you were trying to say Kingdom Hearts character.
Right.
Right.
Is it right?
Now Sharkus doesn't even know if he's right or not.
I gotta think. I gotta think.
Hold on. Panda, continue. I
Right.
need to do more research.
I was gonna say for the live action, the only positive part was Willem Dafoe. That was the
RYUK.
only. Yeah, that was the only positive part in that entire movie. But
For sure.
the writing and stuff was terrible. They tried to just cram everything in, and it was just god awful. The
Yeah,
anime,
as
however,
a whole, yeah, and anime as a whole is amazing. It's wonderful when people want to adapt it, but
Mhm.
many companies, especially in the West, have a problem of whitewashing the hell out of this, and it doesn't stay authentic to what you perceive. And the thing is that most animes, anyways, fall into line of like it's a straight up West Coast vibe. They create
Yeah.
characters that are potentially white people, but when white people actually play these characters in the movies, somehow they don't get it right. I don't know. That's where Death Note went tragically wrong.
the anime is just fantastic. Overall, the story is really, really, really good. So
I'm
we
excited to
started
watch more.
doing a rating on all of this stuff. We gave our ratings, ratings last week. Chase hadn't seen it yet.
Nope.
By that time, but
Did you guys give
what-
ratings on it last week?
we did give ratings on it. Yeah, we just didn't really get into detail about the show.
So you've been rating like each episode and
No,
No,
just
just
the
each
anime
each
that we
anime
talk
in
about.
general.
oh okay.
Like Sword Art Online, because so many people have only seen the first season, and haven't really gone through with the rest of it because of Gun Gale and all that other stuff that happens afterwards. People weren't really interested in it, so they watched the first one. So we went rating on the first season, and then just put a separate rating for the second ones for the people who have seen it.
James,
Now,
have
I
you
don't know
seen
if you
Death
guys.
Note?
I've seen Death Note. Yeah, I saw it when it came out. I was a young budding anime lover when that one came out, and there was nothing else like it.
What would you
when-
rate it?
Out of 10.
If we're going on a scale of 1 to 10, I want to say it's like a 8.5. It is.
Yeah.
Sounds about right from what everyone else said last week.
Yeah.
So,
That is actually roughly around there.
yeah. Oh god. What else you got on the list, Panda?
Well, it's an anime you haven't seen yet. 7 Deadly Sins.
Oh, that's the other one I gotta watch.
Ooh, dude, that's good. That's good.
It is a really good anime.
Oh, it's awesome.
I'm gonna let my
I mean,
dog out.
granted,
Keep talking.
The main character, all right, he's gone now. So the main character is extremely perverted, grabbing boobies and booty and stealing panties and stuff in the first season.
His name is what? Meliodas?
Meliodas. Yes.
Yeah, man, he's crazy. He's-
But overall, you have him, Bon, King, Deanne, and
Who's the
Escanor.
giant girl? What's her name again?
Deanne.
Deanne. Yeah. How does he ignore her? Like throughout her advances, like he totally ignores her.
Yeah, I don't know about that honestly, but
How can you ignore a 60-foot woman?
What?
Not-
That's what I come back to.
well, once you see the anime, but the seasons leading up to the last one that had come out not too long ago, they were all animated really well. The newer season was kind of just they dumbed it down a little bit because they switched artists or switched companies that
Well,
were doing their
Netflix
artwork.
funded it too, so they had to go through a different company. I think there was like some licensing issues, which is really ridiculous when the same company gave the blessing, but they didn't have the staff to go through.
I believe they pulled out. Like I don't think it was really because of the licensing. I feel like they were still going to try to get through with that. But I feel like they just had something else that was going on with Netflix that kind of just pushed them away. It's like that with another anime that's turning into live action that I was actually going to bring up later. It's just a lot of disagreements with certain things that happen in the anime compared to manga and everything else.
Right. Which, I'm always of the mind of you can't follow the manga word for word, panel for panel.
Especially if you're doing the anime stuff, yeah.
Yeah, you can't articulate that in the 30 minutes without it being super expensive for one thing. Plus just overall tedious to try and get every attention to detail. So I always feel like it's nice when animes can become their own thing, even though they're based off of the mangas.
Yeah,
not every company agrees with that. And sometimes Netflix takes too many liberties when they actually get the rights and they actually buy the old episodes, plus they get to fund the new episodes. They kind of just go up against creators' wishes more often than not.
Yeah. This is like that with the next anime turning live action, actually, that I'm going to bring up now because it was just discussed. Avatar: The Last Airbender that's turning into live action from Netflix.
Like a show.
Can't wait to see what they do
doing
with
a live
that,
action
actually.
season show, yeah.
Huh.
They're bringing that up
because Nickelodeon made it so it was less gruesome than it was actually intended. The people who actually created it, well, it wasn't actually designed to be a kid show.
No, I mean Nickelodeon made it into a
kid show, but yeah, they did censor a lot, I've heard.
Well, it was supposed to be a lot bloodier and a lot more gruesome, as the two people who actually created the show put out. It was more adult, they would say.
Is there a trailer for this, or is it just
no? It was just they announced it.
Okay.
They announced it about a couple months ago? A few months ago?
Yeah,
I think they're I think it's in the works right now.
No, they had finished the. I believe it was one season of writing.
That's
they were working on the. They were working on the next season. Like they were writing for the next season, and the creators said that there was just creative differences with the Netflix crew, which kind of they decided to pull out, but they had finished the first season, so they'll be able to do all of that. So hopefully that just comes out to the way that they wanted. They said they're really happy with what they put in there and with what Netflix was doing, but there was just certain things that they were not okay with, which made them want to pull out of the series that they're making.
Talking about writers, though, recent news with new writer coming to Boruto manga for some Naruto people. I don't know if any of you guys I know none of us here watch Boruto, but the writer from Naruto and Naruto Shippuden is coming back for Boruto to pick up where the manga is left off. So we'll kind of see where that goes.
Yeah,
people
I'm not watching it.
Kind of on the fence about where it's gonna go. I personally probably not gonna watch it, but some people are excited. Some people are also like, I swear, if he kills off Naruto, we're all gonna riot.
I think you have to end certain things at certain points. Like
I agree.
He's had a good life.
James is like, I'm ready.
Yeah,
Get him out of there. Who's
he,
gonna be
he
the
had a
new
good life
Hokage?
getting the shit beat out of him as an orphan, and
Ah,
You know, we all come from a place of tragedy, Panda.
it came from a place of tragedy when he was born.
yeah.
Dang.
Oh
Um,
God.
but yeah, back to Avatar. They were actually talking because they were like, when people would get hit by the boulders that they would actually launch up, they actually wanted there to be blood and stuff to actually push out around the boulders, because they're like, at that point you're dead.
Mm-hmm.
But it being on Nickelodeon, they can't obviously do that.
Yeah.
They're like, oh well, this is a kids station, it's meant for kids shows, so we kind of have to ease this up a lot. Everyone will be okay. Like, no one's gonna die, so it's all good. Like,
They're just
it
gonna
doesn't-
do that thing if you get crushed by a boulder, your arms and legs just kind of go on the outside of the boulder and then just
yeah, and
flop
you just
down.
go, ugh.
Ugh.
So James, what anime would you like to talk about there, buddy?
Oh.
I don't know if you guys have even seen it, but I can definitely suggest Akame ga Kill. That one's pretty damn dope.
Oh, that's not the one I thought he was going with, but
I actually believe I have seen that.
no idea what it is. James, tell us a little bit about it.
It is about a boy with a heart of gold that decides to join a merry band of assassins and learn
Yes, I
what
have
it
seen
is
that.
to be
Yeah.
an assassin with a cause.
Yep.
That sounds dope, actually. Like,
It
that sounds
actually is
really
a really
cool.
good. It is a really good anime.
Yeah.
All right, put it on my
Yeah.
list.
Yeah.
Panda, keep a mental note of my list.
as soon as he started saying the name, I was like, maybe. He's like, got kill. I'm like, yeah, I know this one.
Yeah. I mean, it's not to be confused with Kill la Kill, but Akame
Yeah.
ga Kill is more of the. It's not for the faint of heart, I guess. If you're the traditional anime watcher who watches the PG-13, it's definitely a lot more visceral with the violence.
James, we all saw Tokyo Ghoul.
Okay.
I don't even know what you would rate Tokyo Ghoul, like on the scale of like rating, as in, is it PG-13? Probably not. Like, probably mature, maybe.
I would
Well,
say
it's
mature
accepted by
considering
the
they eat
mainstream.
people.
Yeah, but I mean, you don't really see that fully.
I mean, you can see certain parts. Like,
James, what would you rate this anime?
Which one are we talking about?
I can't say the
Kami
name.
got kill.
Akame ga Kill.
Yeah, that one.
Honestly, I love the storyline and how the plot actually went pretty off the rails there, so I give it a 9 out of 10. I think that's it's probably a little too generous, but with everything that goes on, it kind of all connects into this wonderful violent mess.
You gotta
Thinking
love
somewhere around
violent
an 8.
messes.
I was thinking around an 8 myself.
Yeah, like I said, we could split the difference there,
Yeah.
and
We'll go 8.5.
yeah, I think that could work. Now, do you guys like comedy anime?
I haven't seen one yet.
I have
Mm.
watched Food Wars, so yes.
Oh boy, here we go.
Mm.
But now, what I'm really psyched for is they finally renewed a anime called Cells at Work. It's really cool. It's kind of educational at the same time, but it's basically about cells living in the body, and then they fight typical enemies in anime fashion. But you kind of like learn about how the body works, and it's
That's
gets
kind of
pretty
cool,
gruesome.
actually.
Yeah, it's actually really cool. It's really cool. It'll teach you a lot about how blood cells fight off diseases, because diseases enter the body and they actually identify them as these creatures they fight, and it's pretty cool.
That's awesome. I'm gonna have to,
Yeah.
What's it called? What's it called again?
Cells at Work is the American name. I can't even pronounce the Japanese name.
Cells at Work. Okay. Panda, put it on the list. Yeah. I mean,
But-
that definitely seems like something. I mean, you said comedy, so who knows what it's gonna be like.
Yeah, I mean, it's got action and then it's got comedy, but yeah, it's pretty lighthearted, I guess you could say, all around.
For an anime.
Yeah. I don't always watch like a lot of the gruesome stuff, but that one is good. When you want to laugh, when you want something a little more lighthearted, just seek out those types of anime. I mean, there's plenty out there.
Promised
Awesome.
Neverland.
I have not watched that yet.
It's a slow burn.
Yeah, I can agree with James on that one. It is
Dramatic theatrical animes are not for me. I don't care about period fucking dramas.
Like, I'm not like, there are some parts in it that's like, ooh, like it's kind of shocking, and then it goes back to, all right, let the candle just kind of slowly melt.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, when's the next kind of arc point that we're gonna get to? I mean, all in all, I like it. I mean, me and my girlfriend, we've been watching it here and there. It's not terrible as like a kind of first anime if you're starting off with animes. It'll kind of get you into it, but it's not for everybody. I'll tell you that. I like it, but I also hate it because it's slow.
When it comes to the more slice of life bits, it's like you lose me. Because those animes are excruciating to sit through.
One episode is literally them training like tag.
Oh, when you started off saying that, I got very concerned about where that was leading to. Because you're like, one episode is they started off training, and I'm like, oh no. Like,
no, literally an episode is just them playing tag, essentially.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay.
Yeah, it's like, why are we here?
Why? I want to know the good shit.
Do we need to be here for the training, guys? Can't we just be there for, the primetime game? Main event?
I think it's still a young anime, as in being actually animated instead of manga, because I know the manga's pretty far ahead compared to where the anime's at. So I guess it's going to be kind of like a wait and see. I'm going to keep watching it, kind of fill in what I think of it as it goes on.
Okay, so on to one thing that James was talking about before we started this up.
Yeah,
okay.
I was going to say, we kind of got off
You remember
track.
that rating thing that we were talking about, James?
Yeah.
The anime.
Oh, yeah, the best opie. What we got going on here?
Oh,
buddy?
God, no.
Well,
all right, guys, I think that's it.
I was thinking Akane from High School DxD.
A man of refined tastes, I see.
Pan, does
This
that
man
about
is
wrap
cultured.
up our anime section?
Yeah, section.
The section.
I didn't even say Orihime from Bleach. I mean, come on. Yeah.
All right, guys, I'm out. But
no, but to be perfectly honest though, for anyone who is over the age of 18, High School DxD is actually a very good anime. It has a good storyline. It is perverted, but it is still a very good anime to watch. It does have a lot of like connection with the
They
main
actually
character,
show
apart
they
from-
can write a story with all the gimmicks that come along
Yeah.
with what they went with.
Yeah.
They actually still show that they could actually write an engaging story. And that sometimes you weren't even focused on all the other antics and whatever's going on. It's like, holy shit, I'm kind of invested in this story now.
Yeah. The last season I actually really enjoyed. So the last one we'll talk about will be Food Wars.
Oh God, another one I haven't seen.
Well, the thing is, it's literally just exactly. Thank you for the summary.
What a great summary, Shark. 10 out of 10. What would you rate it?
So.
Oh, delicioso.
Food Wars is actually a really good anime. I was actually surprised on how much I actually liked it. Because when I first started watching it, I was kind of just like, oh, well, this is just like food orgasms the entire time. And then they actually teach you how to make some things, and I'm like, well, that's actually educational and stupid at the same time.
If you're someone who is a foodie, yeah, you learn like there's actually different Italian fusion dishes, just in Asian alone, how much they mix the cultures of the other world into their dishes and create something that's still authentic Asian, despite coming from a Mexican recipe. Or, there was one episode where he cooked something with like potato chips from a vending machine and somehow made this, I think it was an Italian style dish, and just like blew everybody's minds.
I remember what you're talking about. Yeah. I also there was one where they were doing a food training camp.
Yeah.
And he actually took the teacher's bag of chips.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. And used it as like a breading. and I would have ate it.
So good.
Well, they literally make food that you can actually make at your house.
Oh,
It's
really?
not like some random animals that they have in their universe. They actually do real food that you can actually cook. Different combinations and everything. It's
Very
actually really
educational.
intuitive.
Yeah, at some points they actually give you like trivia on the background of why a dish was created or why a certain technique in cooking, how it was implemented, and why they're focusing on it for their class, because all around they're trying to make them better chefs for every environment. It's actually really cool.
It's also a lot of orgasms, but yeah. It's a lot. Oh, sorry, foodgasms. It's foodgasms.
Yeah, foodgasms. Get it right.
But it's a really, really good anime. Especially if you are, like, even if you're just trying to get into cooking, you could actually watch that and try to mimic what they do in the show, because they will teach you.
There's also that underlying theme of the underdog. I think I really respect that. The whole premise is that this main character, he doesn't come from a fancy lineage of cooks or 5-star restaurants. He's just a simple kid who's worked all of his life in his dad's restaurant, and he just wants to make something of himself. And
the thing is, like, it's like his dad is well known, but he doesn't go by that, like the name that he actually has in the show, which is actually really good. So like, it's essentially him just trying to beat his dad.
That's basically what I just got
in
from
cooking.
that.
They have like their own little challenges with each other, and he's like, "How many times have I beaten you now?" He's like 600 and something to this, or 600 and something to 0. And he's like, "It's okay, you'll get there one day." And they just start shit talking, and then they have to make like terrible dishes for the other one to eat if they lose.
Yeah, that part's always funny. Like they will just be vile and then force feed the other one. You don't want to be the loser in that food war.
Yeah, and he has a lot. But overall, it's a really good anime. I would suggest watching it.
Got some more anime to add to my list.
Plus, aren't they working on like another season, or are they dubbing the 5th plate?
I believe they're dubbing, but they are working on like the writing and stuff for the next one, I believe.
Yeah.
Well, I think that about wraps it up, guys. Thank you guys so much for hanging out for another episode of Vanguard Nightly News. Again, we had Mr. James Autumn above me, Shark Hunters DFS to the right-hand corner of me, and then Panda to the immediate right of me.
Did you see me wave?
Yeah. If you guys do have any suggestions on animes that you'd like to watch, make sure you guys put them down in the comments. Also, make sure you hit that nice subscribe button to get all the notifications on when we post a Vanguard Nightly News. And if you guys really enjoyed it, make sure you smack that like button. I hope you guys did enjoy again. This is Vanguard Nightly News Crew signing off. Peace.